I'm happy to recommend to you the anointed, powerful gospel ministry of Dr. Inge Wetzel. She will help your people to live healthier and better lives. So many of our people testify how much her classes have helped them and encouraged them and strengthened them and give them real understanding of diet and the things they ought to take and the health and well-being of the body that God has given us, the temple of the Holy Spirit to take care of. Not only has she been used to revolutionize the lives of so many of our people, my wife and myself have been revolutionized by her teaching. When I go overseas to Asia, they're amazed at the energy that I have at 75 years old. And Dr. Wetzel has played a very important part of that in my life and in my wife's life. So let me encourage you to open the doors of your church and let your people enjoy the anointed teaching ministry of Dr. Inge Wetzel. Your people will never be the same if they listen to the things she has to say. God bless you.
Hi, my name is Dorothy Enander, and we are interviewing Dr. Inge Wetzel today. Hi, my name is Dorothy Enander, and I am introducing Dr. Inge Wetzel. And Dr. Wetzel, we're so glad to have you here. It's my understanding that you are a certified natural health practitioner, and you are also a board-certified member of the American Naturopathic Medical Association. I want to thank you for being here. And Dr. Inge, you're telling me that people can change their health just by changing what they eat?
Yes, that is what I'm telling you, Dorothy. Basically, you are what you eat. You eat junk, then the body has to manufacture cells using junk. So that causes degenerative diseases. If you give the body good food, you can create good, healthy cells. It is basically like you can build a house out of straw, you can build a house out of brick.
Yes, that makes sense. So heart disease is the #1 killer of Americans.
Yes, it is.
Every 33 seconds, somebody dies from heart disease. 6 million people die every year from heart disease. It accounts for 45% of women's death, and 1 out of 2 of those women are African Americans?
Yes, they are. The African American woman has 2 times the chances of getting a stroke versus a Caucasian female. A lot of that has to do with genetics. I teach in the class that people with brown eyes have problems absorbing minerals, so they are more prone to diabetes and heart disease. So that is something that you can prevent. You can change your eating habits. You can add more quality essential fatty acids. You know, eat the olive oil without cooking with it.
Okay.
You know, you want to use it cold because that helps replace bad cholesterol, keeps the artery walls softer so it doesn't harden and causes the plaque to break up. So those are things that are very critical, but also it helps people with their weight. Obesity is something that we see so much of. It is rapidly becoming the #1 cause of disease. And so once you lose weight, because you change your lifestyle habits, it reduces the chances for all these diseases. For example, let's see what Jackie has to say about her change in lifestyle, what that has done for her.
Great.
Well, Jackie, you were talking to me last week and you were sharing some things with me about your health, that you have seen some changes since you started coming to our health and nutrition class. Would you mind sharing a little bit the way you were before the class and the difference since you've been in the class?
Well, I see a big difference in my weight, of course, but the way my knees, I have really bad arthritis. And getting off the sugar and eating according to my blood type and eating earlier, I managed to lose 30 pounds.
30 pounds. That is awesome. So you were having arthritis in your knees. Well, that's less weight for your knees to carry for one, so that should help.
Yes.
But then you're saying getting off the sugar, you could see a difference in your knees?
They don't stay swole like they used to. My knee used to be 2 and 3 times bigger than what it is now.
They were 2 and 3 times bigger than what they are?
My knees would just swell up, so the one knee is so bad that I couldn't even hardly, walk.
So getting off the sugar was a main indication that that was what was causing your arthritis problems?
Yes, because I kind of slipped once and started back, and it started swelling.
Just that quick. You had some graduations or something in the family, you said, and you were...
Oh, yes, and I was just eating everything.
And your knee started swelling right back up.
Yes.
So from this, we can truly see that changing eating habits can change quality of life.
Yes.
And I guess you don't mind that you lost those 30 pounds in the process, do you?
No.
So did that change your energy at all?
Some. It just changed it
Yeah,
some.
but you definitely feel better about yourself.
Oh, yes, of course.
And, of course, you reduce your chances for blood sugar problems and blood pressure problems along with the weight loss.
Yes.
So that is wonderful. What I appreciate so much, you coming out today and sharing your story with us. Thank you so much, Jackie.
Dr. Wetzel, in your class that you're teaching at Sheffield Family Life Center on Sunday evenings, you talk about the many diseases that you see are within our church, within our family, our church family. And I know one of them is high cholesterol. High cholesterol is only one of 250 heart factors. And it's so important to know your level and the type of cholesterol that you need to bring down. Your level should be between, well, my understanding is under 200.
Actually,
but not below 180?
Yeah, that is kind of what they are preaching these days. However, if you do your research, you find out that good cholesterol really is around 225. The lower the cholesterol goes, the higher the increase is, the more increase there is in cancer and heart attacks. There is a difference between cholesterol and fat. And that's another thing people don't understand. For example, a skinless grilled chicken breast has as much cholesterol as a hamburger.
Oh, wow.
People don't know that because
No.
it is not the same thing. And so here again, it comes down to education. Education empowers God's people
Yes.
to take better care of themselves because the medications that these people are on, too many of them are nails in their coffin. You know, what I have seen just in the last 48 hours in my office, there is a gentleman that came in, I am afraid to touch him. He's on so many medications that have such serious side effects. And if he doesn't know that he can change things just by changing eating habits, how are these people going to have a leash on life?
Well, let's see what one of the members from the class, let's see them sharing their testimony of how using your teachings has changed their lives.
Yes, Jim is a good example of that with his blood pressure.
Okay.
We'll take a look at Jim. Hello, Jim.
How are you, Dr. Wetzel?
I'm doing good. Excited about news that I heard about your health improvements, and I was wondering if you would mind sharing a little bit what you felt like before you started attending the health and nutrition class.
Before I started taking part in the health and nutrition class, I was having problems with high blood pressure, and it's safe to say that the one habit that I've kicked is drinking soda pop and caffeine. I was averaging at least a 2-liter a day and 2 cups of coffee minimum in the morning.
That's quite a bit there. That's quite a bit. So that got you revved up pretty good, all the sugar and all the caffeine, didn't it?
I believe so.
So you have given up the coffee, you've given up the sodas?
Since February 26th, with the blessing of the Lord, and just the one major thing that I picked up out of the class was to do just that. I have not had a cup of coffee or any soda pop since then.
So what did you replace it with, Jim?
Water.
That's quite a switch. Quite a switch. So did that make a difference for you?
What it's done with my blood pressure, before the class started, when I visited the cardiologist on January 25th, my blood pressure was 176 over 110. And it dropped on March 25th when I visited 2 months later to 126 over 80.
That's quite a drastic difference, Jim. I guess you must have been pretty scared with your blood pressure being that high.
Yes, I was. And I've already, in 2003, experienced a mild heart attack, so getting my health back under control is a priority for me.
It is. And are you feeling better since you've been off those sodas and the coffee?
My digestion is a lot better, and I can't tell myself because I see myself all the time, but I've been told that I have lost some weight too.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, that sounds like some pretty good accomplishments, doesn't it?
I believe so.
Thank you so very much for sharing this wonderful story. I'm sure that's going to encourage quite a few people that need to hear from you, that don't know what to do, how they can help themselves. So these are some very simple changes that people can do that don't cost them anything, actually saves them money in their budget and improve their health along with it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hello, Bob.
Well, hi, Dr. Wetzel. How are you today?
I'm doing good. I have something I would like to ask you. What was your health like before you came and attended the health and nutrition class at Sheffield?
Well, I had absolutely almost no energy. I was tired, and I'd be good for maybe 3-4 hours a day. And I really didn't sleep that well at night.
Okay. You have any heart disease, sugar problems, anything like that?
Yes. I'm a diabetic and high blood pressure.
Okay. Now, those things are caused a lot of times by weight. So what was your weight like? Or should I say, how much weight have you lost since you have attended the class? Maybe that's a nicer way of putting it.
Well, when I came into the class, I weighed about 274, 275. Last time I weighed, about a month ago, I weighed 250.
That's 25 pounds.
With absolutely no effort.
But you did change a few things.
I changed my eating habits.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, we started eating our supper in the morning and eating our salads late at night. And that helped a lot.
Has that done anything for your energy?
Oh, yeah. Generally, I don't go to sleep now till 4 o'clock in the afternoon instead of 2. No, I have lots more energy. I am almost alive now because previously, I was just tired all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, and your sugar is coming down, I imagine?
Sugar is coming down. In all honesty, it would come down more if I paid more attention to what I was doing. But blood pressure and sugar are both coming down.
Isn't that wonderful?
And I have actually quit taking some of my medications.
How many medications were you on?
I started out with 11, and now I'm down to, I guess, 8.
So that saves you a few dollars.
Most definitely. Plus, I just knew that medicine was not really prolonging my life. It was just covering up the condition, and I was concerned because I just didn't feel like I was getting any better.
Yeah. Your digestion is doing better, I assume?
Oh, gosh, yes.
Wonderful. So you are what you eat. So if you eat better, you get better health.
And you know what? I never thought the day would come that I didn't love a steak. But I don't eat near as much meat as I used to, and I feel much better. Okay.
Well, we appreciate you sharing your testimony with us today, Bob. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Now, Dr. Wetzel, I understand that diabetes is the #7 killer in America, and it affects more than 800,000 just in this year. The victims are getting younger. We hear that the victims are getting younger. There's 33% of them are children. And I heard a statement that went that this will be the first generation where let me make sure I get this right, that the
children will not outlive their parents.
That's powerful.
That is true. That is very true, and that is because of increasing obesity among children. You look today and you drive down the road early in the morning and watch the kids stand at the school bus with a soda in one hand and a Pop-Tart in the other hand if they're lucky.
Yes.
It is nothing but sugar. What is diabetes except a sugar disease? The diseases that you see in this country, you don't necessarily find in third world countries. Even though many people are on welfare and food stamps, they still have plenty of food to eat that these poor countries don't have, where the people have to scavenge for food. And so that is why we have such obesity or insulin resistance.
Diabetes.
And diabetes is definitely on the increase. Actually, I think diabetes has crept up to the number 3 cause of death in the United States, if I'm not mistaken.
Isn't that something? Well, thanks for your teaching. Let's listen to what one of your class members has to share about her success in using your teachings.
What were your health concerns prior to attending the health and nutrition class at Sheffield?
Prior to the class, I was very concerned about my sugar level readings. I'm diabetic, and it seemed to be totally out of control. They were reading anywhere between 250 to 350, which is dangerously high. And I just could not do anything to bring them down. I went to the doctor, and she put me on insulin and told me to take 3 shots a day, 1 in the morning, 1 at dinner, and 1 at night. I started to do that, and it still didn't seem to be helping at all. During that time, your class started, so I attended, and after the first class, I decided we got to make a change here. So I quit drinking diet sodas. I was really drinking lots of diet sodas, thinking it was good for me because they were sugar-free. And I gave that up totally. The other thing I gave up was sugar-free things. I used to think because I'm diabetic, if I ate sugar-free things, that would be good. But listening to you in your class, I realized those things are not good for a body. So I made a few changes. I changed my eating habits. And my sugar level readings were normal. One morning I tested, and it was normal, and I was so surprised. And the next day, and the next day, the day ever since then, they have been completely normal. And of course, I thank God for that, but I also thank you because the education that I have learned through your class has really helped me.
Has it been difficult for you to change your eating habits?
Sometimes it gets a little difficult, but really it's not. I think just set your mind to it that you have to change, not drastic changes, because I can't say I've done that, but I have made some changes, and those changes have really made a difference in my life.
Now, you have high blood pressure too, I believe, don't you?
I do have high blood pressure also.
Yeah, so you were really at risk when your blood sugar was that high.
Yes, and that was one of my fears, that I was going to have a stroke. I mean, I was always thinking that I'm going to have a stroke, and of course I didn't want that. And just making these changes has really helped me. I just ran into a lady recently, and I hadn't seen her in quite a while, and she just was so surprised, and she said, "Rennie, you look so healthy." So to me, that is a great testimony that, yes, this is working.
And you've lost weight in the process too, haven't you?
I have lost weight. Even the doctor said that when I went this week. She goes, "You are losing weight."
Isn't that a wonderful side effect, Rennie?
It's great. It is great, and I really thank you for taking the time to educate us about this.
You are so welcome.
So, Dr. Inge, you're saying that we eat wrong. We eat the wrong foods, we eat at the wrong time, we're eating foods that have no living properties to them. You say cut the sugar, cut the caffeine, stop eating foods that are processed, stop drinking soda. Those prepackaged foods have no nutritional values, and we need more fiber. And this doesn't have to be expensive?
You know, if you listen to the story that Jim is sharing about his high blood pressure, he gave up sodas, he gave up coffee, and replaced it with water. Does that cost money? That's money saving in my book.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
So you need to eat breakfast like a king or a queen. Lunch like a lady or a gentleman.
That's good.
Dinner like a pauper. And the difference is that if you eat a good breakfast in the morning, it sets you up to get through the day. If you eat breakfast in the morning, you get your metabolism going. Your metabolic rate increases. Well, if you don't eat in the morning, your metabolism shuts down because there's no food in the system to stoke the furnace, so to speak.
Oh, okay.
You're preparing for a whole day on what? On a cup of coffee and a piece of toast? And then you come home at night and you take this big meal, this steak and potatoes, for you to go to sleep on?
It just sits.
It just sits. It doesn't digest, so your body cannot rest at night. It doesn't produce energy because it is working all night. It cannot store up. It cannot detox. The body is just overloaded, and you wake up in the morning and you're not hungry because that food is still sitting there. You don't want to eat breakfast. You're sluggish, and by 10 o'clock in the morning, you're looking for sweets because you didn't have any protein that morning.
You need something to keep you going.
You're on a roller coaster, as you hear Gerald talks about.
Great. Let's listen to what he has to say.
Gerald, you had some health concerns prior to coming to the health and nutrition class, so can you tell me a little bit about your health concerns and what they were?
Yes. I work for the federal government, and I work in a cube, and I found myself at work in my cube being very angry at the computer, angry at the keyboard, angry at the applications that I was working on. And I figured out that the reason that even though no one had come around my cube and no one was in there, no one had spoken to me, I had these waves of anger coming over me, I discovered that it was because in the morning I wouldn't eat anything. I'd just get up, get myself ready, and go to work. And I start at 6 o'clock, about 7 o'clock I'm looking for my first cup of coffee. At work, they make a very strong cup of coffee. And in order to drink that stuff, I needed some creamer in it, which was all sugar. And then I also added sugar, not the pink stuff, not the blue stuff, just the plain old white refined stuff that we love so well. And so it would take me about an hour to drink that cup. Then I'd go get my second cup, go get my third cup. About 10 o'clock in the morning, I'm falling asleep in my cube. I can't stay awake. I have all this anger, and I decided I've got to quit the caffeine. I've got to quit the sugar. So I quit everything cold turkey. Headaches for about 3 weeks because I was drinking so much coffee and so much sugar. And in addition to the coffee, I was doing a 2-liter of Dr. Thunder, which is like Dr. Pepper, not the diet stuff, the syrupy, sugary stuff, a day, almost a 2-liter a day.
Wow.
So I quit the sugar, I quit the caffeine. I suffered through the headaches, and it was just about the same time that I made that decision to quit the sugar and the caffeine that we started coming to the health and wellness class. And early in the class, as you were teaching, I was reading through the material, and I discovered your recipe for breakfast. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to try this. I don't have anything to lose in trying it. So the next morning, we had all the materials that we needed to put the breakfast together, which consisted of a salad and some fish and some nuts. And I thought, so 5 o'clock in the morning, I'm eating this big salad. And I was amazed. I went to work, and 9 o'clock came, 9 o'clock went, 10 o'clock came, 10 o'clock went, without any coffee, without any sugar, without any soda pop. I was not falling asleep in my cube. I was awake. I was able to function. I was able to do my job. I was amazed.
You gave your body what it needed that time in the morning.
I was absolutely amazed. And for lunch then, I started taking a small piece of meat about the size of my palm and some vegetables. And if there were raw carrots and celery, I ate raw carrots and celery. If there were leftover steamed vegetables from the day before, I took the leftover steamed vegetables. So I was eating a sensible lunch meal, and then at night I discovered that my comfort food was my wife makes a wonderful homemade granola. So I would take 1/2 a cup of granola in 1/2 cup of yogurt. And that was my comfort food at night, and that's all I needed to get me through the day. And I feel so much better. I just can't hardly describe it.
So what about the anger that you were experiencing?
Well, the anger that was washing over me when I was at work seemed to all just dissipate and go away. Haven't been mad at my computer, haven't been mad at my applications, haven't been mad at the keyboard, haven't been mad at anybody. And you know, if it was affecting me at work that strongly, it was also affecting my relationship at home with my wife. And poor lady was walking on eggshells, never knowing when I would explode in anger because of all of this sugar and caffeine that I was ingesting. So without having done anything more than, and believe me, it was a drastic change in eating habits for me.
It certainly was.
But 6 months ago it would have fallen on deaf ears. So I don't know exactly why.
God's timing is perfect.
God's timing is perfect, and I believe that 100%. And it doesn't surprise me that at the same time that I made that discovery on my own, that we came to your class, I discovered some better eating habits, and I just feel so much better. And as a sidebar to that, not my primary intention, but I have lost 11 pounds.
You too, so that is quite tremendous.
How
about your indigestion? Is that still there? Is that gone?
Well, I haven't experienced any of the indigestion that I used to.
Great.
As badly as I used to. So things are really on track, and I'm looking forward to eventually getting off of some of the medications that I've been on. I know that I can control with diet and naturally, but I haven't really gotten started on that aspect of it yet. But I'm looking forward to those changes. I've heard some good reports of some supplements, and just looking forward to getting started on that, although we haven't yet.
Sounds like your life is on a healthy track.
Much, much better. Thank you so much for the education that you've presented, not only to me, but to the church as a whole.
Dr. Inge, I want to tell you how much I appreciate talking with you. It has been such a great education, learning some basic tips that you can change, and they don't have to cost a lot of money, and the effects that it has made in people's lives. I want to thank you so much for your ministry here at Sheffield Family Life Center, and I just pray that God will continue to bless and anoint you, and let's keep it coming.
Thank you so much, Dorothy. I truly believe that God's people perish for lack of knowledge. And this knowledge is in every area of life. We need to provide God's people with the tools so that they can do the work which God has called them to.
That's great.
Thank you, Dorothy.